Hey, I hope you guys had a great time going back and reading that story that we read yesterday called A Bee's Life. Remember, you are to use those pictures and the words in the text to retell about the nonfiction information. Now, I've got a fun activity for you to do today. So, remember, Miss Proctor showed you the picture of the chicken, the life cycle, and it starts with the chicken. He's laying the egg, he hatches the egg, and then you have the baby chick. Well, just like that, you read your book about the bee's life, and you had the words here that you learned. Some of those new words that you learned yesterday was larva. That's the one that looks like a worm. Pupa, that's the stage in which the bee looks like a baby bee. And then nectar is the stuff that the bee gets from a flower in order to store it up in his body and take it back to, do you remember? Oh, yes, a beehive. And when they take that nectar back to the beehive, they make, that's right, that yummy honey that we love. All right, so your fun activity today, oops, let's go back the other way, is you are going to actually retell how the life cycle of a bee occurs because you read that story. So you should know how to do that. You should know how to retell us the life cycle of a bee. Well, we've got up here some photographs, and these are some other words that you might need when you retell. Hatch, eggs. Now you're like, why do you have the word caterpillar and butterfly up here? Because I have a challenge for you later on in the lesson. Tadpole, frog, and toad. Now, you know that not only is the life cycle just about a bee, you have the life cycle of all kinds of animals, not just a bee. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to click on this link and you are going to watch just like a less than a minute video of the life cycle of a bee just to remind you. All right, so Ms. Proctor's going to go ahead and click on it. So let's go ahead and the life cycle of a bee. Hatching eggs of the bees takes place 3 days after eggs are laying. Larva, that's that stage that lasts 8-9 days, and it looks like a little worm. Pupa is like the child form of the honeybee, while the body changes form. Larva, adult bees, either workers, queens, or males. Then the worker can take the larva built and a clean nest forged. So they're basically forging the nest of the hive. Queens have the longest lifespan of all bees within the hive. So let's go back a minute. I feel like I rushed through this little section right here. So right here, while the body changes form, larva body shape to the adult body. So this is like the baby bee, the pupa, right? So then you have the adult bee, and this just shows you how they change size. Just very similar to you when you were a baby, then you were a toddler, and then you got to be a little boy or a little girl. And then before long, you'll be an adult like Miss Proctor or your mama or your papa. All right, so then they go back to the beehive and they work to make the honey, right? And remember, it said at the very end of this video that the queen is the one that lives the longest in the hive. She lives the longest. Okay, so let's go back to the life cycle, okay? So Miss Proctor just put up here on the board just a fun little label because that's really important when you have a nonfiction text that you are able to pay attention to the captions in the nonfiction text. The life cycle, you have the egg, the larva, the pupa, and then the honeybee. All right, so let's go ahead and see if you can figure out how to complete this sentence. The first stage of what are we talking about? That's right. We're talking about the life cycle. The first stage of the life cycle That's where that would go right here in this blank. Is laying the what? What do they lay? I forgot. What do they lay? That's right. They lay the egg. So you can write that sentence on your paper. The first stage of the life cycle is laying the egg. Okay, let's do the next sentence. The second stage of what are we talking about again? What are we talking about? The life cycle. The life cycle. Now, this is not just for bees. Now, we did read that, but remember, it's a lot of the animals that you can learn about the life cycle. We learned in class about the butterfly, we learned about the frog, and we learned about the bee. The second stage of that's right, life cycle, that would go right there. That would go right there. Is what was it? What was that thing that looked like a worm? Yes, it was the larva. The larva. And what does it say? It says, it looks like what do we say it looked like? A worm. All right, so what I want you to do now is I want you to pause the video and see if you can practice writing these sentences. The first stage of the life cycle is laying the egg. The second stage of the life cycle is the larva. It looks like a worm. Now here's your challenge. Can you write another sentence all by yourself? What is the third stage of the life cycle? Does anybody remember? Miss Proctor did not put it up here on the board. Want to see if you can come up with a sentence and write it on a piece of paper and send a picture to Mrs. Proctor, okay? What would be the third stage of the life cycle? And then the last stage. All right, so here is what I want you to do. Show what you know. Draw the cycle of the bee. Use the pictures to help you get started. So we have the photographs up here, an egg, a larva, a pupa, and a honeybee. So just simply take a piece of paper and you can draw and put your arrows. Use this example that's up here on the board to draw a picture of the life cycle of the bee. And send me a picture. I want to see your hard work. All right, and now here's your challenge for the day, okay? Challenge for the day. I want you to watch the video of the butterfly, and then can you tell me the difference or the similarities between the life cycle of a butterfly or I'm sorry. How is the life cycle of a butterfly similar or different from the life cycle of a bee? All right. And I want you to write it down. You can draw a picture, illustrate it, and then send me a picture. Now remember, you've got the link so you can watch the life cycle of the butterfly. And I hope you guys have a great and wonderful learning day. And I will see you soon.